According to the laws of physics, an F6 tornado was impossible. But Dr. Elena Storm was rewriting science itself, and in 3 minutes she had created a force of nature that would destroy 200 warships. The crisis began at 6:23 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on August 14, 2025, when radar stations along the California coast detected the largest naval invasion force in modern history approaching American territorial waters. Elena Storm, a 32-year-old atmospheric physicist and classified weather manipulation specialist, was conducting routine atmospheric research at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography when the emergency alert changed everything. Elena's background combined advanced degrees in atmospheric physics from MIT with 5 years of classified research in weather modification technologies that officially didn't exist. Her work involved understanding and manipulating the fundamental forces that governed Earth's weather systems through methods that pushed the boundaries of known science. The approaching invasion fleet consisted of 200 advanced warships carrying approximately 50,000 enemy soldiers equipped with weapons and vehicles designed for rapid coastal assault. Intelligence reports indicated that the attack would begin within hours, targeting major population centers along the Pacific coast with overwhelming force. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? August had brought unusual atmospheric conditions to the Pacific Ocean as high-pressure systems interacted with warm water temperatures to create unstable weather patterns. Elena's research had focused on understanding how these natural phenomena could be artificially enhanced or redirected using advanced electromagnetic manipulation techniques. Elena's official assignment involved studying the relationship between solar radiation, electromagnetic fields, and atmospheric pressure variations that influenced weather formation. However, her classified research explored the possibility of using directed energy systems to create controlled weather events for defensive purposes. The invasion fleet's approach trajectory would bring them within range of populated coastal areas where conventional military response would result in massive civilian casualties. Traditional defensive measures were insufficient against the scale and sophistication of the attacking force, requiring alternative approaches that went beyond conventional warfare. Elena's weather manipulation research had identified theoretical possibilities for creating localized weather events through precise electromagnetic field manipulation combined with atmospheric seeding techniques. However, the energy requirements and technical challenges had prevented practical implementation of large-scale weather control systems. The emergency briefing at the Naval Research Laboratory revealed the desperate nature of the situation as military commanders sought any possible defensive options. Elena's classified research into weather modification made her the only person with theoretical knowledge of technologies that might address the unprecedented threat. Dr. Patricia Hayes, the facility director, authorized Elena to attempt experimental weather manipulation procedures despite the untested nature of the technology and unknown consequences of artificially creating extreme weather events. The alternative was allowing the invasion to proceed without effective defensive measures. Elena's analysis of current atmospheric conditions revealed unusual stability patterns that could potentially be disrupted through targeted electromagnetic intervention. The approach required precise timing and energy application to create cascading atmospheric effects that would generate extreme weather phenomena. The theoretical foundation for Elena's approach involved manipulating the electromagnetic properties of water molecules in the atmosphere to create artificial pressure differentials that would trigger rapid air movement and rotation. The technique had never been attempted on the scale required for effective weather control. Equipment preparation consumed valuable time as Elena configured high-powered electromagnetic arrays and atmospheric monitoring systems needed for the experimental procedure. The setup required precise calibration to focus electromagnetic energy on specific atmospheric regions while avoiding uncontrolled effects. Military observers expressed skepticism about the feasibility of Elena's approach, pointing out that weather manipulation had never been successfully demonstrated on scales large enough to affect military operations. Elena's theoretical calculations suggested possibility, but practical implementation remained unproven. Elena's initial electromagnetic pulse targeted water vapor concentrations approximately 50 miles offshore, creating localized heating that began generating the pressure differentials needed for atmospheric rotation. The energy requirements pushed the facility's power systems to maximum capacity, while sophisticated monitoring equipment tracked atmospheric responses. The first signs of success appeared as satellite imagery showed unusual cloud formation patterns developing in the targeted area. Elena's electromagnetic manipulation was creating the atmospheric instability needed for severe weather development, but the energy requirements exceeded initial calculations. Atmospheric pressure readings indicated rapid development of low-pressure systems as Elena's electromagnetic fields disrupted the normal balance of forces governing air movement. The artificial pressure gradient was creating wind patterns that showed potential for developing into organized rotation systems. Elena's second electromagnetic pulse increased the intensity of atmospheric manipulation while targeting specific altitude layers where temperature and humidity conditions were optimal for severe weather formation. The technique required precise timing to maintain the energy input needed for continued atmospheric disruption. Wind speed measurements showed accelerating air movement as the artificial pressure systems began creating organized circulation patterns. Elena's manipulation was successfully generating the atmospheric conditions that preceded tornado formation, but the energy requirements continued to exceed facility capabilities. The facility's backup power systems activated automatically as Elena's weather manipulation equipment drew more electricity than standard operations required. Emergency generators provided additional power capacity, but continued operation would strain the entire electrical grid serving the research facility. Satellite data revealed the formation of a mesocyclone structure as Elena's electromagnetic manipulation created the rotating updraft needed for severe weather development. The artificial weather system was developing characteristics that matched natural tornado formation, but with intensities that exceeded normal atmospheric capabilities. Elena's third electromagnetic pulse targeted the developing mesocyclone structure to enhance rotation speed and create the focused vortex needed for tornado formation. The energy application required precise frequency modulation to maintain the electromagnetic field coherence necessary for continued atmospheric manipulation. Wind speed readings indicated rotation velocities approaching F3 tornado classifications as Elena's artificial weather system developed organized structure and focused rotation. The experimental weather control was succeeding beyond theoretical predictions, creating atmospheric phenomena that demonstrated the practical feasibility of controlled weather manipulation. 2 minutes into the procedure, Elena's weather system had developed into a clearly defined tornado with rotation speeds that exceeded F4 classifications. The artificial tornado was displaying structural characteristics that matched the most severe natural tornadoes while maintaining the organized development that Elena's electromagnetic control provided. The tornado's interaction with ocean surface conditions created additional atmospheric effects as water vapor and thermal energy fed the developing storm system. Elena's artificial weather phenomenon was becoming self-sustaining through natural processes while maintaining the enhanced intensity that electromagnetic manipulation provided. Elena's monitoring systems detected wind speeds that exceeded F5 tornado classifications, entering theoretical territory that meteorologists had designated as F6, despite the general scientific consensus that such intensities were impossible under natural atmospheric conditions. Elena's artificial tornado was breaking the established limits of atmospheric science. The approaching invasion fleet detected the unusual weather development and began taking evasive action, but the tornado's size and intensity made avoidance impossible for vessels that were committed to their assault trajectory. Elena's weather weapon had achieved the coverage and power needed to address the entire invasion force. 3 minutes after initiation, Elena's F6 tornado had reached maximum intensity with wind speeds exceeding 300 miles per hour and a circulation pattern that covered over 20 square miles of ocean surface. The artificial weather system had become the most powerful tornado ever recorded, with characteristics that defied conventional atmospheric science. The tornado's impact on the invasion fleet was immediate and devastating as 2,000 warships encountered wind forces that exceeded the structural limits of even the most robust military vessels. Elena's weather weapon was systematically destroying the entire invasion force through pure atmospheric power. Ships closest to the tornado's center experienced complete structural failure as 300 pall-mall winds created forces that no human engineering could withstand. The vessels were lifted from the ocean surface and torn apart by wind shears that exceeded anything in natural weather phenomenon records. Elena's monitoring systems tracked the tornado's progress as it moved through the invasion fleet with methodical efficiency. The weather weapon was maintaining its artificial intensity while consuming the approaching ships with the focused power of controlled atmospheric destruction. Vessels attempting to escape the tornado's path discovered that Elena's weather system covered such a large area that evasion was impossible. The F6 tornado's circulation extended far beyond the visible funnel, creating wind effects that disabled ships throughout the invasion fleet. Military observers watched in amazement as Elena's weather control demonstration eliminated the invasion threat through purely atmospheric means. The experimental technology had succeeded beyond all expectations, creating weather phenomena that redefined the possibilities of defensive warfare. The tornado's sustained intensity over ocean waters violated established meteorological principles, as natural tornadoes typically weaken rapidly when moving over water surfaces. Elena's electromagnetic manipulation was maintaining the artificial energy input needed to sustain impossible atmospheric conditions. Satellite imagery confirmed the complete destruction of the invasion fleet, as the F6 tornado systematically eliminated every vessel in the approaching force. Elena's weather weapon had achieved 100% effectiveness against a threat that conventional military responses could not have addressed without massive civilian casualties. Elena's controlled termination of the tornado required careful reduction of electromagnetic field intensity to allow natural atmospheric conditions to reassert themselves. The shutdown procedure had to prevent uncontrolled weather effects while ensuring that the artificial storm system dissipated safely. The tornado's dissipation occurred as rapidly as its formation once Elena reduced the electromagnetic energy input that had sustained its impossible intensity. Within minutes, the ocean surface returned to normal conditions with no remaining evidence of the weather phenomenon except debris from the destroyed invasion fleet. Post-operation analysis revealed that Elena's weather control technology had eliminated an invasion force that would have required months of conventional military action to defeat. The experimental defensive system had prevented massive casualties while demonstrating capabilities that revolutionized understanding of atmospheric manipulation. Environmental monitoring confirmed that Elena's artificial tornado had produced no lasting atmospheric disturbances or ecological damage beyond the intended destruction of enemy vessels. The controlled weather manipulation had achieved military objectives without creating uncontrolled environmental consequences. The success of Elena's weather control demonstration led to immediate classification of the technology at the highest levels of government security. The capability to create F6 tornadoes represented a defensive technology that could fundamentally alter the balance of military power worldwide. Scientific analysis of Elena's electromagnetic manipulation techniques revealed principles that contradicted established atmospheric physics while providing practical methods for controlled weather modification. Her achievement represented a breakthrough in applied atmospheric science that would influence research for decades. International response to the invasion fleet's destruction focused on the mysterious weather phenomenon that had eliminated the threat. Official reports attributed the tornado to unusual natural conditions, concealing Elena's role in creating the artificial weather system. Elena's weather control research continued under enhanced security classifications as government officials recognized the strategic importance of technologies that could create defensive weather phenomena. Her work had demonstrated practical applications that exceeded the most optimistic theoretical predictions. The atmospheric manipulation equipment used in Elena's demonstration was redesigned for improved efficiency and reduced power requirements that would make weather control technology more practical for operational deployment. The success had proven the feasibility of controlled severe weather creation. Military applications of Elena's weather control technology were analyzed for both defensive and offensive capabilities that could provide strategic advantages without the collateral damage associated with conventional weapons. Weather manipulation offered unique possibilities for conflict resolution. Elena's achievement in creating an impossible F6 tornado had rewritten the limitations of atmospheric science while providing defensive capabilities that protected millions of civilians from invasion. Her 3 minutes of weather control had prevented a war while advancing human understanding of atmospheric manipulation. The 2,000 warships that had threatened American coastal cities were eliminated through purely natural forces that Elena had learned to control and direct. Her weather weapon had proven that the atmosphere itself could become humanity's most powerful defensive system. Years later, Elena's work remained classified, but her influence on atmospheric science and defensive technology continued through research programs that explored the practical applications of controlled weather modification. Her demonstration had opened new possibilities for protecting civilian populations. The F6 tornado that Elena created in 3 minutes had saved millions of lives while establishing weather control as a legitimate field of defensive technology. Her achievement proved that human science could harness natural forces for protection rather than destruction. Elena Storm had demonstrated that the impossible became possible when human ingenuity was applied to understanding and controlling the fundamental forces of nature. Her weather manipulation had turned the atmosphere into the ultimate defensive weapon.